Oh, hey, welcome back. Have you ever done that thing where you're scrolling through Facebook late at night and you come across this ad for something that looks so great? And even though you know in your heart of hearts that there's a 50% chance or greater that what you get is going to be a complete piece of crap, if it even shows up at all, but this thing is so awesome. It's so compelling. You just can't help yourself. Maybe you've had a couple glasses of wine and you just click that buy button. Yeah, I did that. But now I can share my results with you. Hi, I'm Lady Delatour. Welcome to my studio. I'm here today to talk about my adventures in late night Facebook purchasing. One night I was sitting in bed scrolling through my Facebook feed, as you do, and I came across an ad for a website called Madame So, and they were offering heat erasable fabric marking pens for only $20. Such a steal! Now, I'm really a sucker for any product that's going to make marking my patterns easier, quicker, and more legible. I also really hate it when my fabric markings disappear in the middle of when I'm working on a project, the way that chalk and wax tracing paper often does. And I also really hate it when, after I have finished a project and washed it, my fabric marks come back, as some of the regular fabric markers do. So this seemed like a great idea at midnight. Full disclosure, I did purchase these. Madame So did not send them to me for review, but I figured as long as I had bought them, I might as well share my experience with you. Now, I did do a little bit of research before I hit that buy button. I hadn't had that much to drink. And they did seem, I went to go look at the website, and they did seem like a legitimate merchant. I had seen them advertising before. They have a 32 presser foot set that I've looked at a couple times sort of longingly because, you know, all those feet. I just want them. But I actually already have a lot of those feet. And that set is usually being sold for around $60. That was a little more money than I wanted to spend with a merchant that I didn't know anything about. But this seemed like a really good opportunity to try them out and see what kind of quality their product was. The site was easy to navigate. I didn't at any time feel like I was putting my credit card information someplace shady. So that's good. I got immediate confirmation of my order, and I got confirmation when it shipped out. And in just a few days, this handy dandy little box arrived at my door. It is quite a sturdy little box. It has a little sticker here. It's now not sticky on mine anymore. Lifts up. Instructions. The set comes with a black pen, a blue pen, a red pen, and a white pen for marking dark fabrics. And also refills for each one of those colors. So that's pretty nice. Now, my first thought when I opened this box was that they're gel pens. They look like gel pens, especially this black one here, or the blue one. If you have a child or a spouse or a roommate who might possibly be going into your stuff to look for something to write with, these look like the kind of pen that you could take to do your schoolwork or to make a shopping list. And so I feel like you really do want to keep them in this fairly sturdy box that they provide you with that is clearly labeled heat erasable fabric marking pens so that they don't wander off, because I feel like they probably will. But the real question is, aside from the aesthetics of the box and the product itself, does it actually work? Do they easily mark the fabric? And do they easily come out? So let's find out. I started out by making myself a handy dandy chart with a variety of different fabrics. I wanted to see how the gel pens responded to both natural fabrics and polyester fabrics and some specialty fabrics as well. I picked out 100% muslin, 100% luxe heavyweight cotton, 100% cotton twill, 100% silk duponi, a polyester satin, and I have both sides of those so that you get the shiny side and the back side of the fabric, a polyester chiffon, a knit blend, and a lycra, and that is also the front and back of the fabric. Using the pens, I made the same marks on each square, a triangle, a circle, and a straight line, which are all the kinds of marks that you'd be using to mark your patterns. It doesn't really seem to matter to me what color you use on the fabric, as long as it's not the black. The blue, the black, and the red all stand out pretty equally well in different colors. I suppose if you are using blue, you would not want to use the blue marker. You would use the red or the black. I would not use the red on the red. Yes, going to use the blue on the silk duponi. I did realize after filming this that I had reversed my fabric squares on my chart. The polyester satin, the back is actually labeled front and the front is labeled back, and I did that with the lycra as well. Sorry about that. Now with the black poly satin, I am using the white marker. Now the white, as it says in the instructions, does not show up right away. As you can see in the video, there is no marks that are showing up. I did find that that took a little bit getting used to, that I tend to scribble a little bit more than I need to. The white does show up beautifully. It just takes about 30 seconds or so. You can see it starting to sort of come into view on the top panel. Now with the lycra, I decided to use a variety of different colors. I have found that it's hard to find a marking pen that will show up on a lycra fabric and then also vanish after it has been used. So I was interested to see how this particular product fared. So I used every color on the lycra. Both front and back, because that can make a difference. There's a shiny front and a flat matte back. With everything marked, it's time to put the pens away and break out the iron and see how these pieces of fabric fared. 100% muslin, 100% gone. 100% cotton, 100% gone. 100% twill, 100% gone. I'm getting pretty excited here. Let's try that. 100% silk. Oh, not so great. Yeah, that definitely didn't come out. I can definitely still see some of that. Even with repeated use of the iron, the marks of the pen are still quite visible. Moving on to the poly satin with the white. The white vanishes even more quickly than the colors. The poly chiffon with the black pen vanishes completely. The knit blend with the black pen vanishes completely. Now the true test, the lycra. Does it come out of the lycra? It does not. Still very visible marks on that lycra fabric. I did leave the samples overnight to come back and check and see if any of the marks reappeared, as sometimes happens with disappearing ink markers, and none of the marks returned. I will note that the instructions did say that it is not good to use these markers with silk, so they did warn ahead of time. I just didn't read. Bottom line is, you should always check your marker on your fabric no matter what. Also, just an additional piece of info, the gel markers do not leave any marks at all on your iron plate. So in conclusion, I found these pens to be very easy to use. They were extremely legible. They wrote right away, with the exception of the white, which they tell you it takes a little bit of time to show up. And their fine point enabled me to make very clear and crisp marks. A lot of times a fabric marker will bleed into the surrounding fabric and leave kind of a bigger blotch than you had intended. There is, however, one big con to this product that's actually tied into the fact that it works so very, very well. And that is, as we sew, we press. I mean, you better be pressing as you sew, right? So it is possible that as you're working, you can iron away a mark that you need for later on. And after I had frustratingly done this more than one time, because I guess it takes me a while to learn, it was more on my radar to pay attention to what I was doing around those marks. And sometimes I had a pin that I put in the mark, and then after I had ironed it away, I remarked it. It's a little bit of a problem, but in the end, I think it's more than worth it to have these marks that stick around when you need them and vanish when you don't. So I hope this gives you some valuable insight. Maybe you've seen Madame Sew's ads on Facebook yourself and kind of wondered whether or not it was someplace it was safe enough to purchase from. And I will say from my experience, if I came across a product of theirs that I was really interested in, I wouldn't hesitate to buy from them again. I am extremely happy to add these pens to my arsenal of sewing tools, with the only caveat being, if you have a mark that you really don't want to vanish and you're afraid that you won't notice after you've ironed it over, maybe use a different method to mark it. You could even use thread to make an X as opposed to any kind of pen at all. As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit me up with a like, maybe subscribe to our channel, and then you'll get updated whenever we put out new content. We do try to do that every week. Lady Delatour here signing off. Happy making. What was I saying?